we tend to, like most addictions, we like to do them in secret, right? So when we do them in public view, we tend to be a little more careful about binging or overdoing. And so for those of us who live alone in particular, it is a challenge to eat, to find eating or it can be a challenge to find eating patterns and put them in place that really support us. Because I don't know about those of you who live by yourself, but I'm terrible about, I go till I go till I'm so hungry I'm shaking, and then I'm just like, what's in the cupboard? And whatever's there is what I eat, and it's not always a good choice. So I'm having to learn to be a little more conscientious about preparing food ahead of time and having it available, or having better things in the fridge that I can go to if I get hungry. So the next thing is eat when you're sitting down. How many people eat here standing up? And again, one of the things that does is that it really puts eating into a mobile part of your day, like you're doing. When you sit down to eat a meal, particularly if you are by yourself. And again, remember we talk about how ceremony is one of the ways that you can change addictions. If you sit down and you get yourself a nice cloth napkin and your nice silverware and a beautiful dish and a little flower in a vase, and you take that extra 5 minutes to create a space to sit down and eat at, it changes, energetically it changes the food. It actually raises the vibration of your food when you put it into a structure, a ceremonial structure like that. So, and that's why people for centuries prayed over food, because prayer was creating a space of gratitude, and it raised the vibration of the food. You can eat anything that's out there and change the vibration of it before it goes in your body so that it doesn't hurt you, if you put strong intention and create ceremony around your food. So that's another thing. If you eat unconsciously, and I found this, it's so funny, I don't remember when I wrote this, but just as I was packing today, I found this on my desk and I went, oh, that's fabulous. When you eat unconscious foods, you feel unconscious. When you are unconscious when you eat, your food becomes unconscious as well. Foods that make you feel uncomfortable are probably not good for you. So a lot of times when we eat unconsciously, we don't feel the result of the food when it comes into our body. But if we are being conscious about what we're eating, then a lot of times if we're eating something that our body doesn't like, it'll tell us immediately. Like there'll be something going on as soon as that food hits your stomach. And that's a way for us to pay attention and that's the body giving us information. But if we're being unconscious when we eat, and often when we're eating with people and it's about the conversation, the food is really sort of a secondary thing and it gets lost. And so I personally like to eat alone, especially when I'm really hungry, because it tastes so delicious. I'm just like, oh. But I also like to eat with people who are also hungry and appreciating the food. So it's really fun when everybody is hungry and appreciating the food together. And especially if you've all prepared the food together. You know, that's one of the things I love about when my family and I get together is the women all head for the kitchen and then we do all the food prep. And when by the time that we eat, it's so delicious and so good, and it's so fun to share that. And finally, avoid emotional conversations while eating. Do not eat and argue. Do not eat and argue. It should be a rule at the dinner table that there's no contentious conversation. That contentious conversation is either done before you eat or after you eat, but not while you're at the dinner table. Because it changes the food. Again, it changes the vibration of the food as it's going in. Okay? Any questions on that? The thing that I find for myself that I've experienced with addictions over the years is that I tend to, my addictions tend to surface when something emotionally is going on in my life that I feel either I have no control over or that I have fear about, or that somehow I don't feel grounded and centered, and I don't feel like I can get grounded and centered. And that's when my addictions come up, is when something is off kilter and it's something that I don't feel that I can personally, that I either personally have the willpower to take on, or that it's outside of me and I can't fix it on my own. And so that for me is usually when the craving comes. What I find then is if I do some of the things that I've been teaching you here, if I journal, if I set myself up for a grief night and have a good cry, if I do my anger work, if I, and then eventually I get to a place of surrender, the craving tends to go away. And what happens is that my body begins to demand healthy choices. It's like there's not even a hint of wanting the addiction anymore. It's like I'm suddenly craving fresh vegetables, I'm craving smoothies, I'm craving wheatgrass, I'm craving, the things. So then I know that I'm on the upward journey again. So it seems like for me, addictions really come when I'm going in the down spiral. And we always, life is a sine wave. You are never here. You're always doing this, right? Everybody knows that. And how often do we resist this? We all do. We're like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to feel that. And that's usually what I found with clients too, is that it's when they're in the downward spiral or the downward slope that the addictions really come up. Because the addiction gives you a reference of a time when you felt good. Okay, most addictions get put in place because we're doing them when we're feeling good at some point in our life. And then we get addicted to the addiction because we want to feel that way again, but the thing itself isn't ever going to get us back to how that feels. But then we get physically addicted. And so then we're looking to get back to how this feels by artificial means. And maybe it can get us there for a minute or two, but we can't ever really stay there. So generally what will happen is the addiction will continue until such time as you've uncovered the emotional component behind that addiction. And it's not even like a one-on-one. It's not like, why am I craving this thing and looking at that? It's really more of, what's going on in my life? How am I feeling? How am I feeling uncomfortable about something? Am I fearful of something? Is something changing in my life? Do I feel like I don't have any control? And then that's really then do the work of the journaling, talking to the ancestors, if anger comes up or grief comes up, to really just be with those feelings. And then as that takes you through that journey, the addiction will generally let go. Okay? Does that